Welcome back to Brighter Rays. Today we're looking at 1 John chapter 2, verse 13. And we're going to look at the very last section of that where John talks to children. He's writing to children. So who are these children? Well, I want to go back to that verse 13 here. And John uses a different word for children than he does in verse 12. So he's using two different words here in the Greek, though. A lot of English translations usually put little children for one of them and then just children for the other to help us kind of figure out, well, there's a different word here. But, they could have been a little bit more obvious, I think, to help us to see as in English that there is a little bit different. Not that it really changes too much. But, sometimes the two words that John uses are interchangeable. But the word children in verse 13 usually, but not always, referred to children of teachable age. So these are children that could be trained, that could be disciplined. They're not infants that are unable to be, trained in that way. But now they're children that are able to be taught. So you have an address to children that would be able to understand and receive the teaching of John. So if they're all sitting in church together and they get up and start reading the elder John's letter, the children there would have been able to, understand what he's talking about. So he's making this address specifically to them in his letter, which is pretty cool. And there's other places that Paul does that too, but here he's specifically talking to, John is talking to children. And so these are the same children that the fathers are to be bringing up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. So those older men are supposed to be doing something for these children here. And these are the ones that were being brought to Jesus and whose faith was commended by, also whose thinking is warned against by Paul. So this is the same word that is used there. So it's used in, train them up in the fear and admonition of the Lord. It's the same word that where the children are being brought to Jesus and put on his knee. It's the same one where Paul talks about you shouldn't be acting childishly. When I was a child, I thought like a child, that verse. So that's the same word that he uses here. And like the little children in verse 12, this children is also used as a term of endearment as well. So it could be just that. He's just using both words here. And it could be writing to all the Christians or specifically to the little children or the immature in the faith. Either way, they all need to hear this. And so what is the encouragement that the children receive? They know the Father. What comfort there is for a young child in the faith to know that they have been adopted by their Father in heaven. Though their earthly father may fail them or abandon them, they have a perfect Father in heaven who loves them and disciplines them. What comfort for those children that take all that the Father has given them and squander it in reckless living. But when they come to themselves and return, he sees them while they are still a long way off, has compassion on them, runs and embraces them, and kisses them. The attacks of the evil one await them when they get, when they're getting older. The attacks of the evil one, when they become young men, they will face the same attacks as the young men that are right now. And, those temptations of age will come upon them. But they can always rest in the fact that they know the Father. They will know the one who is from the beginning. And they will be strong because they have the Word of God in them. And they will overcome the evil one. So that's our study for today. Come back tomorrow and we'll conclude our study together.